Welcome to NARFE's Configuration Advisory Board tutorial series for the Association Management System Database, or AMS. This tutorial will describe the elements on a Federation dashboard to help you familiarize yourself or other officers with where to look for the information about your Federation. This is an example of what your Federation dashboard should look like. Don't worry if you can't read everything on it. We're going to walk through every part on this page. Your login status is going to be in the upper right-hand corner. And just below that is the main NARFE web menu. The NARFE homepage, Support NARFE, and Find Local Chapter buttons will take you back into the NARFE web area. Below that section is the area where you will find the name of the Federation, the region that the Federation is in. NARFE consists of 10 regions, the number of chapters in your Federation, and if your Federation has a website, the URL to access the website. A little further to the right, you'll find the icon for the frequently asked questions. This is the area and the button that you'll select where we hope NARFE will be able to load the videos or documentation that will help you learn how to navigate the AMS. We're going to skip over the center section for just a moment and take a look at Federation membership statistics. This first box consists of all of the chapter members in the Federation. The second box consists of all of the national members in the Federation, national-only members. And the third box consists of a total number of all of the members in the Federation. Just above that section, you'll find another box that indicates the currency of the information, the last time that the information was updated. And below that statistics, you'll find a list of all of the chapters in the Federation. Selecting any one of them will take you directly to that chapter's dashboard. This center section between the Federation information and the statistics is the heart of the Association Management System, or AMS. It consists of two sets of menus. The first set these 6 buttons are the main dashboard menu. The Federation dashboard button will always bring you back to this main Federation dashboard page. You also have a button for the Federation chapter list. This is the second way that you can access the chapter dashboards in your Federation. The Federation member list, the Federation officers list, Federation search, which is extremely useful, and all of the Federation reports. Below that is the secondary menu that allows users to add new Federation officers, update your Federation's information. This is where you would input the URL for your Federation website. Federation members, some authorized officers are allowed to access the national members list, which is from this button. Several officers have access to the NARFE email system, NES, and NARFE web hosting. And then we have buttons for the ORM, which is the archived information. The ORM is no longer operational and has not been updated since May 31st, 2019. Do not use ORM to try to obtain any information after the 1st of June, 2019. All current information from June 1st, 2019 to the present is available only in the AMS. This is the dashboard overview. Now we're going to look at each function on the dashboard menu, starting with the chapter list, the Federation chapter list. As I showed you on the Federation dashboard, at the bottom you'll find a list of all of the chapters. This Federation chapter list is a second way to access all of that information. Selecting any one of these will take you directly to the chapter dashboard. From the Federation member list, you can find the entire list of chapter members in alphabetical order. If you're looking for someone whose name begins with the letter in the middle of the alphabet, use the selectable alphabetical index. This will make it easier for you to find your members whose names are in the center. Prior to the alphabetical index, officers had to page through tens of pages in order to find someone whose name began with R or V. Another bonus here is that if you find the chapter header underlined, these are all column headers here. If they are underlined, that means that that particular column is sortable. So you can sort by last name, you can sort by NARFE ID, you can sort by city, you can sort by congressional code. As long as it's underlined, that means that the category is selectable and sortable. Of course, if you want to export your entire membership list, you'll use Export to Excel. If you have selected any one of the alphabetical characters prior to exporting to Excel, you will only export that one page. In order to get your entire list, go back to the Federation dashboard, reselect Federation member list, and then select Export to Excel. Another almost convenient function is the blue bar. When you select it, it opens up a series of buttons that allows you to deselect columns that you aren't interested in looking at. So if you only want the chapter code and address of your member, you can deselect all of the other buttons, and that's all that you will view. Unfortunately, This only works for viewing it online. If you select Export to Excel, it will export every column, and you will have to do this work all over again. The next button is for Federation officers. This was once the F7A, where you can make modifications to existing officers or to their terms of office. If an officer has left one position for another, we recommend that you add the new officer positions before you remove or change any term of office dates. This will prevent a loss of access for key officers to make changes to the database. If you are interested in learning how to do this, look for the How to Update the Chapter Officer Roster tutorial. That will provide details on how to add a new officer or make changes to existing officers. When you select the Federation officer list, you will get a drop-down menu that has all of your officers listed. And you notice that this is the column header for that particular list. Only the position number, position code, the title of the position, and the term start dates are eligible for sorting. Federation Search is a new function and allows officers to search for an individual in the Federation, including national members, if you are authorized as a key officer to view national members. You can also create an update request for members on their address, their mailing address, their phone, their email address, or provide NARFE with a notification of death for a member. For details on how to make these member updates, see the AMS Update Request Form and Notification of Death tutorial. For best results, enter the last name of the individual that you're trying to locate. If that fails to produce a list of members, clear the form and try the ID number. If you type in a first name and a last name, the system may become confused. So stick with one name, just the last name, and see what kind of a result you get. At this time, the searching by date of death does not function. This will presumably be a way of determining members for memorials every 2 years, Federation conferences and conventions, but at this point in time it does not function very well. If you select member and then yes and leave all other spaces blank, you will get an entire list of your Federation membership, including national only members, if you are one of the key officers authorized for that information. The final button is for Federation reports. There are among the reports are the M110, the M110S, the M102, M260, and M112. In addition to that, we have 3 options for creating mailing labels for the chapter officers, the Federation officers, and all of the chapter members in the Federation. For more information on how to use the reports provided, see the Federation Reports in-depth tutorial. The secondary menu allows officers to add a new Federation officer, update the Federation information. Some officers have access to the national member list, which they would get from the national members button. Officers may have access to the NARFE email system. And of course, your webmaster or network coordinator will have access to the NARFE web hosting. There are 3 buttons for the ORM. All of them will take you to the same place. The ORM is no longer a functional database. It's an archive, and it stopped being updated on May 31st, 2019. So if you are looking for current information, do not go to the ORM to find it. You won't find it there. Everything from June 1st, 2019 to the present is in the AMS. The other 2 buttons for the ORM are just placeholders. Here is the Add Federation Officer, and you can find out more about how to do that on the Update Federation Officer list. Update the Federation allows you to change the information for the Federation so that if the contact information for your Federation changes, this is where you would go to make that change. This is what the Update Federation form looks like. As you can see, we have input here the URL for our Federation website. If you have a Facebook page, you can put the URL for that in this section, and the contact information for your Federation would more than likely go in all of these sections here. If you have someone who is a point of contact with their address, their city, state, phone number, and zip code. Only key officers have access to this list, and that is a limited number. And again, key officers have access to this list, although there may be more of them, such as the, once again, the network coordinator or the editor of the newsletter for the Federation. This is the legacy database, the ORM. And this function will be disappearing at some point in the future. So if there is anything you need to get from the ORM, actually there are 1 to 3 months worth of data in some of the reports there. But largely it is, you would have to go to NARFE headquarters and ask them to retrieve historical information if you want anything out of the ORM older than that. This concludes this overview of the Federation dashboard and its functions. If you have any question or comments about this tutorial, or if you have any problems with the AMS database functions, contact your CAB representative and we will be in touch. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.